Hey everyone, Marie here at Funding for Good's home office. Today we are going to talk a little bit about ultimatums from the exhausted and unempowered executive director. Does this sound like you or someone you know? If so, hope you'll join us just for 3 or 4 minutes today as we consider this topic that affects so many nonprofits across the world. So I've spent the better part of my nonprofit career as an executive director or a program director, and I can tell you it is exhausting. For all of you who say there simply aren't enough hours in the day, I don't know how I can get this done, I could really use more board support, or the board doesn't understand what I have on my plate, I can totally relate to you. So these are some of the tips I would like to share that might help you open up those communications with your board of directors and help them really take seriously the things that you've been saying, but maybe they're just not being heard or received. So, first of all, honest dialogue is always important. A lot of times when we feel like the people around us are falling short, we try to pick up the slack. And it's not other people's fault that we're taking on more than we can handle unless we share that it is a problem. So if I see that someone didn't follow through, but I also didn't take responsibility to hold that person accountable, can't really blame them. So if I reach out to my board and say, I could really use support with this, and someone volunteers, and then I don't follow up, it's not technically on the board member if I did not follow up. However, if I follow up and I continue to see that board members or other volunteers are following through, then I do need a way to hold board members accountable. That's where your relationship with your board chair is critical. Making sure that you have an honest conversation with members of your executive committee or a board advocate that really understands what you're going through is crucial. So first, a conversation. Reach out to a board member, invite them to go for coffee and say, you know what, I really love my role as an executive director, and I just love the fact that everyone on our board are great people with genuine interest in our organization. But I feel like that I'm overwhelmed and I want to be successful in my role, and this is what I need from the board in order to be successful in our joint cause for this mission. Conversation is the first great way to start. A lot of board members are not going to be happy if you call them out on the carpet because at the end of the day they feel like they're volunteers and they're your employers. So conversation is the best place to start. If you are still not seeing changes and you feel like your board of directors is to blame, I would encourage you to take the time to draft a letter explaining exactly what your concerns are and why. So today I talked to someone and they said, you know what, we just feel like we have board members who are missing meetings, they're not participating, they're violating the bylaws, and no one is holding them accountable. That's not you complaining, that is you calling attention to violations of the board's adopted bylaws. So if you have board members who have not been showing up to meetings or have not been giving the minimum donation that's required, you don't have 100% board giving, you might draft a letter saying, dear members of the board of directors, I am honored and privileged to be your executive director, and I'm really hoping to be successful in my role, and this is what I need from the board in order to ensure that we can move forward as an organization. If that is not heard, then an ultimatum might come around in the next letter saying, I've reached out, I've expressed my concerns, and I don't feel comfortable serving in a role where I cannot be effective. These are my options. And lay out the options as to what you are willing and not willing to do so that it is on the record. At the end of the day, side conversations might be helpful, but only the things presented in a board meeting in a written form will go down in the record. So be sure that you take each of these steps, express your frustrations, but also be sure to congratulate and celebrate those board members or those members of your organization who are stepping up and who are advocating for you and the mission. So on behalf of all the frustrated and unempowered board members or executive directors and leaders, please take the time to talk it out and then draft a letter so everyone knows where you stand.